So I have some very, very exciting news. Sync 60, the challenge that we did a couple months back, is starting again this Monday, coming up this Monday, July 1st. Okay, so what is Sync 60? If you've been with my channel for a while, you know exactly what Sync 60 is. It was our 60-day challenge that we collectively set as a community to individually reach our sync licensing goal, something that we could achievably and realistically get done in 60 days. What could those challenges or those goals be? Everybody gets to decide for themselves. Maybe you participated with us. I know many Sync Academy members got their first album completed that they could eventually then shop to a library. And in fact, I just got one success story from one of those members who actually used Sync 60 to crank out 10 tracks, submitted it to a library, and now those tracks are distributed with this library. And so their career is started. They've really got their foot in the door now. And it really started with them creating this challenge for themselves and achieving this 60-day goal that they set for themselves. So it's basically a way for us as a community to collectively hold each other accountable. I know that sometimes this can be a very lonely and kind of unmotivating business to be a member of and be a part of, because you have to really believe in yourself enough and believe in your craft enough to dedicate probably a month or two of work into a full album, 10 or 12 tracks, and you're not really sure if those tracks are going to be accepted by the certain library that you want to submit them to. But these days, you really do have to have a full album ready to go if you want to be considered more professionally above and beyond all the other hundreds or maybe thousands of producers excuse me, that submit to the same music libraries. A couple years ago, you probably could get away with maybe doing 2 or 3 tracks and then saying, I could complete this album for you if you accept these tracks. These days, everybody's doing that. So what do you need to do? You need to step up your game, and that means you need to have a full album ready to go. So the biggest reason why I put this Sync 60 challenge together is to give you maybe that kick in the butt you might need to put that entire album together. Or maybe if you're not even there yet, maybe you're at the point where you just need to learn how to use your DAW a little bit better. You're at the beginning stages, or you just need to get a little bit better at your mixing or mastering skills, or just diving into a brand new genre or learning how to use a new plugin. There's no goal really that's too small to achieve. There might be some goals that are too lofty to achieve, like getting to full-time income in 60 days. Not likely going to happen, okay? So making sure that it's obviously realistic, it's something that actually can be achieved by you in 60 days, and it's something that's going to basically step you forward in your career. And you will be blown away. If you didn't participate in the last one, you will be blown away by how much you can get done when you have a strategic plan laid out in front of you for focus, basically, to really kind of block out all of the other distractions, the other things that get in the way of you achieving your goals, and just focusing on this one particular project you want to get done for 60 days. Now, in Sync Academy, we hold each other accountable, and that's what we did for the last Sync 60 challenge, and we're going to do it again this time, okay? We have a public sort of progress chart. It's basically an online Excel spreadsheet where everybody fills out their weekly goals and their overall Sync 60 goal, okay? And every single week, members log in, and there's going to be one column that's either yes or no. Did you achieve this week's goal? There are no disclaimers. There's no room for excuses. You can't put in, well, no, but that's because X, Y, and Z happened. No, because I got a little bit distracted. It's just yes or no. And in the sync licensing business, you're either going to get accepted or rejected, or accepted or ignored. So we treat it the exact same way here. There's no excuses. There's no disclaimers. You're either achieving these weekly goals and getting to the point where you're going to achieve your 60 goal, Sync 60 goal, or you're not, and that's it. And basically within the Sync Academy community, we can log in week by week. I certainly log in and look to see who's achieving their goals and who's falling behind. Now, you can fall behind on one week, but that means you got to play catch up for the following week to make sure that you get to the next week's goal, okay? So the success stories were incredible last time. The amount of just positive excitement that I was hearing from all the members, including many of you here on my YouTube channel, it blew me away that this was really one of those missing ingredients for many of you guys, just to have a community to be a part of and to be held accountable. And also, it makes it more fun. I mean, doing this stuff by yourself is just not as fun when there's a large community of producers that are all going for the same thing. Obviously, our own individual goals, but we're all collectively participating, holding each other accountable. And you can just kind of feel it in the air that there's something really special about the next 60 days and that you can be held accountable for it. and you should be holding yourself accountable for it. That's usually what sort of makes the difference for a lot of people in terms of, are you going to make a big step forward in the next 2 months in your licensing career, or are you going to kind of just do what you've been doing, which is you get a little bit motivated, you start a track, you don't finish it, right? That's kind of the common story for a lot of you guys, is you get excited for 1 week and you're cranking out a bunch of stuff, and then the next week you kind of lose your excitement and your motivation, and you're kind of spending more time watching Netflix, playing video games, doing other stuff, and you're guilty about it. You don't feel good about it, and you should be making more music. This is one of these challenges that can basically help you prevent that from even happening, because on the first week of this goal, even before the challenge starts, you should be lining up your weekly goals. Each of the 8 weeks, you should have one particular thing you need to get done. Maybe it's get 1 track done or 2 tracks done, or start to learn about how to structure tracks, or get better with mixing or mastering. Whatever it is that you feel you need to do on these weekly goals, you break it up into small chunks, and then you can stay focused and more motivated as you go through, because it's going to feel really empowering and motivating to know that, like, okay, I got last week's goal completed. Mark that yes on that column. It's going to be green for you. Now I can put that aside, move on to the next week's goal. You don't even have to think about the full 60 days about what you're going to do with this entire thing. You just need to think about, what am I going to do this week to get it done? And what you get through this challenge, and what a lot of members have gotten through this challenge, is they're starting to train themselves in a more effective way for how to be productive continuously, right? Not getting super excited about music for a week or two or a month or two and then burning out, but realizing you can rinse and repeat this Sync 60 process every month or every 2 months, however long you want to set your goals for. And that's really what this is all about. Now, unlike the last Sync 60 challenge, where I did a lot of the instructions and the tutorials and all the stuff that I was talking about here on my YouTube channel, this time everything will only be happening inside of Sync Academy. So if you're a Sync Academy member, I've already put out an announcement video about this coming up. It is starting this coming Monday, July 1st. So it's going to take us all the way through to September 1st. So it's going to be basically the summer of Sync 60, right? So visualize it now. What do you want to get accomplished? Where do you want to be September 1st? What do you want to have done? Do you want to have that full album done? Do you want to be, you want to have more competitive mixes? Do you want to have some better structuring to your tracks? Do you want to learn your DAW better? You want to learn a new plugin, a new sampler, whatever it is you feel like you really need to accomplish. You have to kind of do some of your own analysis there and decide what you want to get done. But now is the time to start thinking about it, because we're starting it next week. So basically 7 days from today, we are starting this collectively as a community. So in Sync Academy, there is a mini course. It's right underneath the tutorials in the Sync Academy tutorials, where all the 100+ hours of all the other tutorials are. But this is going to be a separate course. It's just called Sync 60 Challenge. And this is where you're going to find your progress chart, and we're going to have the weekly videos available for you. Now, if you've already watched the weekly videos from the last challenge, great. I still think you should rewatch them, because a lot of this stuff does need to be reinforced, and sometimes watching things twice can definitely help you reinforce these habits into your workflow. Or maybe you're new to Sync Academy and you haven't watched these before. They are going to be released to you 1 week at a time, so you're not overwhelmed and bombarded by a lot of content. I know that's one of the issues with Sync Academy. There's a lot of stuff to go through. So this is going to be sort of piecemealed out 1 week at a time to make sure that you're picking up, there's going to be multiple lessons within each week's video, but at least you're going to basically focus on one aspect of creating a sustainable long-term career in sync licensing each week through this, okay? So if you're not a Sync Academy member, now would be a very good time to join, because there are plenty of tutorials for you to go through before you start the Sync 60 challenge. So if you want to learn better, like we talked about, how to produce, how to transition, how to structure things, how to name your tracks, how to get better with metadata, whatever it is that you feel like is a little bit of a weakness point or a point of confusion, or you're not really sure, you certainly have a full week now to go through a lot of these tutorials, get equipped, get educated, know what you're really doing. And then when you start the Sync 60 challenge with the rest of us, you're going to be on a much better path forward, okay? So if you sat on the sidelines last time, or maybe you didn't know we had it going on, and this is the first time you've heard about this, maybe you're new to the channel, do not sit on the sidelines for this. Even those members that participated in it last time but didn't get their Sync 60 challenge goal accomplished, they couldn't mark yes on the final one to say, yeah, I got it done. They still said that they were just incredibly benefited by this challenge, because what it did is exposed to them where their distractions are, right? Why they're not getting stuff done consistently. Once they put a lot of focus into this challenge, they realize, wow, there's a lot of stuff that constantly gets in my way, that doesn't allow me to get my music done. So I need help. I need to start focusing differently. I need to start putting some more guidelines or sort of restrictions, or just sort of planning out my studio time a little bit better. I need to ask for help from my friends, family, wife, kids, everybody around me to help make these sacrifices so that I can have a little bit more focus time, some good producing time in my studio. Whatever it might be, a lot of producers were finding out that this was sort of a very revealing process for them. So don't beat yourself up if you can't get your goal accomplished. But what's the only thing that I'd say is a failure in this is just not participating, like not even going for it, not even trying something, okay? Just go for it. Just put your goals down, break them up into weekly goals, and give it a shot and participate with us, because you're going to discover a lot of interesting things. You can't fix something until you become aware of it. So if you're not making full-time income right now with sync licensing, and you're also starting to realize that as the weeks and months go on in this business, you're constantly hitting these walls of demotivation and lack of motivation, and kind of getting into a music creativity depression where you're just not feeling like making music and nothing's really inspiring you. This is basically the 101 a course that you really need to go through to understand why you hit those walls constantly, why you constantly feel that there's this sort of low motivation in stock for you, and how to push past it. And I'll tell you, the big thing to getting past these sort of obstacles that you're facing is all about planning. You're probably right now not planning much of anything. You're just waking up, producing music, kind of thinking you're doing something, but then you hit some obstacles, something doesn't feel right, and then you kind of burn out because there was no larger goal for you to kind of zoom out, recheck yourself, make sure you're still in line with what you're trying to do for this overall goal, and jump right back into your challenge, right? And that's what this is going to absolutely do for you. I can guarantee you, whether or not you succeed and get your goal accomplished, or even if you don't, you're going to discover something about your workflow that's going to be very valuable and that you can carry with you years and years into the future of your music licensing career. So the link is in the description box below if you want to join Sync Academy. And for those of you that are already in Sync Academy, start thinking about your goals now, start planning it out, and you will see that mini course appear within the, and the progress chart appear within the Academy here within the next few days. So you can start to pre-populate it, fill out your columns, and then we're off to the races starting this Monday, July 1st. So I hope many of you join us, and I hope many of you that are in Sync Academy participate. I hope every single member in Sync Academy participates in this challenge. I'm looking forward to it.